welcome to iPhone Chef. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about pesto, fresh basil, and what we can do with it. We're going to start with making a little pesto tonight. Now I have grown some lettuce leaf basil, which is just phenomenal. It's a great thing to grow, gives you these nice big leaves and makes it real easy to make pesto. Now the first thing we want to do is make sure and stem all the leaves, after you wash it of course. Now, I've stemmed that one, taken that big piece out. I'm going to put it in here. I need about 2 cups of fresh basil leaves before I start making my pesto. Now, there's 2 options here. Most recipes call for pine nuts. What I really like to use are walnuts. Now, you need to toast them for just a few minutes, and I've done that in a dry pan. I'm going to set the pine nuts to the side, and I'm going to go with the walnuts. I'm going to drop those into the food processor first. And I'm going to go ahead and get those ground up just a little bit before I get everything else in there. Alright, those are ground up real nice. Now I'm going to take my 2 cups of basil leaves and dump those in there. They've all been stemmed so that we get a real nice consistency with the pesto. I've got half a cup of Parmesan and Romano cheese here. I'm going to dump that in. And now I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of garlic or 3 cloves, whatever you find in your refrigerator. And I'm going to add just a little pinch of pepper and a pinch of salt. And now I've got 1/2 cup of olive oil that I'm going to add to this. I'm going to add about half of it to start with. Now we're going to have a loud noise here while I mix this up. Now if you need to turn it off and scrape the sides, by all means get all that down in there so you're blending it up real well. Let's take a look and see what it's looking like. Oh, that's really nice. I'm not sure we're going to have to add any more olive oil to that. Let's sneak just a little bit taste. Well, that's really good. I think we need to add just a little bit more salt and a little bit more pepper and just a little bit of olive oil to get it a little bit thinner. Let's blend it up again. Alright, now let's take a look and see what we've got going here. I think since other people are going to eat tonight, I'm going to get a clean spoon. Oh, that's just perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now when you're done with your pesto, mixing it up, you need to store it. Now there's some great options. I save all of these little jars all year long. I pack the pesto in there and then I just freeze them. That works really great. That's a good amount. You don't want to pack it in too big of jars because you only use a little bit of pesto at a time. Another option is just to take an ice cube tray, take the pesto straight out of here, pack it into your ice cube trays, just like that. Fill the whole thing up and stick it in the freezer. And then once it freezes, you pop it out of there, put it in a freezer Ziploc bag, and then you can use just a cube at a time. If you're making pesto soup or pesto bread, you can just thaw it, drop it right in there, and it works real well. Now, there's lots of recipes out there for pesto, lots of people making pesto. The questions that I've gotten are, what do I do with it after I'm done? So today, I made a few different things. I have really worked with some duck eggs today. We made some basil stuffed duck eggs. Really, really nice duck eggs. You can find 2 or 3 different ways to cook them on the internet. About the same as chicken eggs. They're a little bit bigger, but they do a real good job. Everything we've cooked today, we've used duck eggs. I made some muffins. These are just pesto muffins. Basic recipe. I just substituted the duck eggs. Now, one of my favorite things to do, and I don't know why this combination pairs so well, but I took a couple of pieces of watermelon, I smashed them and got the seeds out and made just basically a watermelon drink. Basil, for some reason, complements that real well. And there's just nothing as crisp and clean on a summer day as a nice drink of watermelon juice with some basil. Now we've got a salad tonight. I've taken some cream and some pesto and made a creamy pesto dressing. This is a recipe from the Old Spaghetti Warehouse. It's out there on the internet. Anybody can find it. And I started making pasta with the duck eggs, and it just didn't work out real well, so I decided to make little crackers, salted them real heavy, baked them in the oven for a few minutes, and they're really, really good. They have a nice taste to them, kind of like crackers. Now, I have a friend who doesn't eat any carbs. She sent me a recipe and said, if you're going to do pesto tonight, you got to do something low carb. So I took a zucchini out of the garden, cut it up, roasted it in a black iron skillet for 7 minutes on each side, and then just took a couple of teaspoons of pesto and tossed it in there. And these little things are absolutely scrumptious. Pesto is really high carb. Anytime you mix it, you either see it on bread or with pasta, and this is a good option. Yeah, it even tastes pretty good too, which surprised me sometimes. Now, what we're going to have for dinner tonight is pasta. I took the pasta, cooked it up. I took the pesto. One of the secrets to using pesto with pasta is before you dump your water out, you need 2 tablespoons of the pasta water to mix in with your pesto, and that thins it out a little bit. Toss it all in with the pasta, whatever you're using, and it just is absolutely fantastic. I'm Tammy Cornett. I'm the iPhone chef. I'm Kentucky proud. We'll see you next week.